All right, so welcome back, everybody. Ernesto Vega here with Canvas Real Estate. Let me start with this today. The sad truth is, right now, agents are losing deals, right? Agents are losing deals um, because not the buyers disappear, not because the inventory is not there, but because they're showing the wrong homes, right? Their stock right now is showing properties, right, where everybody's competing for those properties and wondering why nothing is sticking. So today, me and Ruben are gonna resolve that problem. We're gonna break that. We're gonna break down for agents to understand there are deals to be done and what are the homes that you gotta be working with and what kind of loan products you should be working with.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Ernesto. Again, for those that don't know me, I'm Ruben Crispino with CNG Home Loans. And here's the reality, exactly how you put it out there. Buyers are on the sideline, not because they can't buy, but because they're trying to find something that works for them within their budget, right? Kind of what they're looking for. Um, Within their, again, we go back to the monthly payment that makes sense, right? So what do? They pause, they sit on the sidelines forever, or they just, kind of disappear. So I think that's where what we're going to talk about today, which is rehab loans, and I have a little nugget at the end that I want to throw out there also. I think it is a good way to start looking at some of these properties for these buyers.
Yeah, thank you, Ruben, for that. So let's simplify this for every agent listener right now. What do you see as the real problem, as the real problem with buyers right now?
Well, it's like kind of a catch-22. They want move-in ready homes, and those homes are too expensive. So what do? We got to fill that gap. We got to fill the gap between the move-in ready home and the affordability factor. That's where we're at.
And the cost, the issue at hand is what, Ruben?
So a couple of things. Well, we still have limited inventory on places that people want to be, right?
Okay.
For multiple factors that we've talked about many times. And also aging homes, right? We've had construction typically goes in waves, in specifically down here in South Florida, and based on where people want to be, some of those homes are starting to get a little up there in age, unless they've been completely renovated, which then again makes them unaffordable.
So what's the solution? We got a problem, right? We got a problem. Everybody wants a 10 in
Right?
the inventory is full of fours and fives, right? And then when a 10 hits the market, everybody runs to that 10, everybody fights for the 10, right? And then the 10, like literally the 10 may not even appraise because it's overpriced. So then what is your magic able to tell you? What is the prescription, the solution for this?
The solution is like everything else. If you can't find it, you got to create it. You got to create the home that you want. And how do we do that? Well, we do that through different types of loans. Specifically, we have two of them we're going to talk about today, the 203K and the home style renovation loan.
All right. So if I'm a first-time home buyer, right, and I don't have a big down payment, I got a little bit of savings, right, but I want to be a homeowner, I want to build generational wealth. Uh, I need everything. And everything I see needs work. Everything that I go look at is West Pompano, great location, but it needs a new roof, it needs windows, and what do I do? How do I buy this
Mhm.
house?
Well, I mean, with as little as 3.5% down, we can still do a 203K FHA, 203K, which not only do you get the money to buy the home, but we also roll in the renovation cost into that loan also. So it's one loan that serves as a purchase and a construction loan at the same time.
Right. Explain it to me like if I was 3 years old. Make it simple. You're talking about two loans. Is that two
No,
payment? Is that two? I gotta qualify for two loans.
no, no, it's one loan, one payment, one closing. One loan, one payment, one closing. It's very simple. Renovation loans. You buy it and we give you the money to buy it and we give you the money to renovate it. And it's one loan. You don't need to refinance it. You don't need to do anything. You just get the loan amount based on the purchase price and the approved construction.
Okay, but there's a catch. I gotta give you 3.5% down payment for one and 3.5% for the other one, right?
No,
There's gotta be a catch.
there's no catch. There's no catch. It's 3.5% of the after repair value. There really is. This has been around for a long time. We've done a bunch of these. So this is not like a new program. This is just a program that's been underutilized. And maybe in South Florida, it was underutilized because for so many years, we've had a lot of vacant land and we had a lot of new construction in places that people wanted to be. We still have new construction going on, but it's getting a little further and further away from the city's center, jobs, et cetera, nightlife. So to be a little further east on, let's just call it the east side, right? For our market, you're going to run into older, smaller homes. I always talk to people. I live in my neighborhood. They're all older, smaller homes because they were built for the snowbirds back in the 60s. Nowadays, people want a little bigger home. So part of that process is to do a renovation of the existing home.
Okay, so to recap, for everybody that's working with a first-time home buyer, which is about 30% of the market, is stop shying away from homes that may not pass inspection because they need repairs or they need a new roof. The 203K is the solution. It's the loan that will let me buy the house and let me fix the house, right?
Absolutely. And how many times, I mean, we're talking about just on a regular transaction that you're seeing now that, you're having an issue with insurance because it needs a new roof. This is the solution to all that, for sure.
Okay, so now let me take off my first-time home buyer hat, right? Now I am a Gen X, which is my generation, right? Gen Xers are hitting their stride. They're making good money, and they wanna live a little, right? They wanna live a
Mhm.
little. So I wanna live a little. But to live a little, I wanna move east, like you said. East is where it's at, right? So let's say I wanna move out of West Kendall and I wanna go to South Miami because I wanna be closer to work. I wanna be closer to restaurants. I wanna be closer to everything. But me and you talked about that South Miami, most of those homes haven't been repaired or remodeled since the 80s, right? But I have
Right.
the money to buy the house, but I don't have the money to fix the house. Do you have a magic wand for those for people like me there?
Yeah, absolutely. These are obviously, again, for primary residents. Let me say that up front, right? There's something that you're buying, you to move into. You can do a 203. There's two types of 203K. You got the 203K regular loan and a 203K streamline, which is the smaller one, a little easier to get done, but you also have the home style. I mean, there really is only limit on these loans or the actual max loan amount for FHA and conventional loans. So there's nothing beyond that. So on FHA, you're looking at $667,000 on a single family that you can, as long as the cost and the loan amount does not exceed that. I mean, the construction cost doesn't exceed that, then we're good to go. I mean, the reality is that that's how we're looking at things. If they're moving east, if they're moving into neighborhoods that are really becoming, they're changing and they're coming up because they're so far east. Um, and like we talked about, a lot of the stuff originally built in South Florida was built from east to west, and the snowbirds originally, were first ones moved down here. A lot of two-bedroom homes originally built that were, you know, made bigger by garage conversions or what have you. But they're still not very large homes or maybe not a great functional floor plan. Maybe they have the old floor plan where, you had the formal living and dining and kitchen, and now everybody wants an open floor plan. All these changes can be taken care of on these loans that we have that include the construction costs with them.
So without permits up to code, right? Without homes that were remodeled up to code without permits, up to code
We-
with it's a new
I-
thing. It's a new thing.
I'm
You'll hear
I'm
all about it later.
I'm not touching that one.
So what do you lend? You lend based on the value after renovations? And
Right.
does this work for investors then?
So the FHA, no. The FHA obviously is always for primary residents unless they're looking to buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, and they're going to live in one of the units. So yes, if you want to be an owner investor, then yes, then it would work on a FHA on a duplex, triplex, and fourplex as long as you move into one of the units. And then there's other fix and flip type projects that we have too. But the reality is, let's just think about our first time home buyers. or are move up buyers or move down buyers. By the way, you and I are in the same generation, so I think the reality is that we're hoping to see that, right? They want to move east, they want to, maybe something a little smaller, but they don't want to go through living, and without the comforts that they got used to on their house in West Kendall or Weston or Pembroke Pines or Coral Springs. So I think this solves that problem quite well.
Okay, so then the realtor problem for those are, those are turnkey homes, like upgraded homes are I don't want to call them overpriced, but they are. They're outside the price of the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And even that when they hit the market, the competition is insane. Everyone's running to the same home. So from what I take from you, the home style loan for someone that is not a first-time home buyer gives me the opportunity to buy the house, right? And borrow to get it remodeled, to get it
Right.
redone. Yeah,
All
I
at the
see there's a
same
couple
time.
of questions on the chat. We're gonna take at the last 5 minutes. I promise everybody we're gonna take all the questions. But if you're having that problem that the remodel home that's coming into the market, you go to show it and there's already, seven people looking at it, but that's the neighborhood. They want to buy the neighborhood. I think that's the conversation, right, Ruben? If you want to buy the neighborhood, don't look at a 10, look at a 4, look at a 5, and make it a 10 your way, your taste.
Right. I mean, well, your taste, right? I mean, maybe it's a beautiful house. They did a great job renovating it, but you don't like the flooring. You want something different. And this kind of puts you in control, right? We're seeing the new buyer or the modern buyer really want control of the whole process. They want what they want. They're not willing to sacrifice. Uh, and this is really takes care of that. They can, buy a property in the neighborhood they want, uh, which fits their financial means and goals, and then renovate it the way they want. And I think it's a really a win-win for everybody.
Okay, so this one is different. What about if you already own the house, right? You already own the house and you wanna upgrade it. You want to add an ADU either for income or for the, older relative that is moving in, or simply, the house, like you said, the house needs a little tender loving care. It's been with you for about 20 years and it needs help. What solution you got for something like that?
Well, you took away my magic bullet. That's what I was going to talk about today, which is the ADU. Guys, the ADU thing is huge, okay? Especially in the western parts of the country, California, Southern California specifically. And it's happening here. I did a bunch of research the last few days over South Florida and the ADU requirements. They're actually very doable. And what is an ADU? It's basically it's an efficiency, a studio, however you want to call it, that you legally put on your property and you can get income from. And they're approving a lot of these, and specifically in the older sections of South Florida, a garage conversion, a legal garage conversion to ADU is going to be the easiest, simplest way to get something done, right? So let's go back to the problem. What's the problem? Well, prices have gone up quite a bit, and I don't really see them coming down significantly in single family homes in South Florida, if at all. And this is a way to make it more affordable, right? So you can do a 203K, you can do a home style to renovate the home the way you want it. If you need some help paying the mortgage, well, we do an ADU on the property too. And believe it or not, you can do that based on a line of credit. You can do a line of credit, against your existing home, pay for the renovation of the either the complete add-on of an ADU or the conversion of the garage. Um, but you can also do this through an FHA loan, and they'll pay up to 8 months of your mortgage. In other words, if you're going to do a complete renovation, you can do it through an FHA refinance, 203K, and put on an ADU, and say you got to move out for 8 months, right, because of the renovation. Well, you won't pay mortgage because you have to go rent somewhere, right? So you do have to pay your rent, or go live with mom and dad or whatever, what have you. But you won't pay the mortgage for 8 months. So I mean, it's all built in. I mean, there's really many ways to make this happen, and there's solutions. We just have to start thinking outside the box, because if we keep going to the same place, we're all looking at the same house, like you started saying. That's the issue.
Yeah, no, that's because I mean I hear it. I mean there's about 1,000 Canvas agents and they're always reaching out to me and they're like, oh, we went to see this house, Ernesto. Like there was something that just came up in Cooper City. Cooper City is although it's a suburb, has really great schools. And they're like, Ernesto hit the market on Saturday. When we got there, there was 17 different families walking the house. And so I said, well, let's look at it. And the house has been completely remodeled. It's overpriced. I mean, it's overpriced, and there still was 17 people looking at it.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, there's like four other homes, 150 to $200,000 cheaper in the same area, in the same subdivision. Did you show them that ones? No. I'm like, that's what you should have shown them the old one and then the new one and said, look, this you can turn this into this,
Right.
right? And finance it, which is the part that everybody's missing.
Right.
One of these hasta lenders that you or your team did, you guys were saying that you guys had a very simple HELOC app or HELOC something that is like literally ping 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 and done.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We have it through our website. It's very simple. They can get a line of credit based on their current home to do the renovation, upgrade, ADU. I'm telling you, this ADU thing is going to come here really fast. Well, we've always had it, right? We've always had it. We just didn't have it legally. Now, we're seeing in both counties, or really more Dayton Broward. I'm seeing approving these ADUs because we need the higher density, and especially, again, to do with traffic patterns and moving people, back east, to get away from, the suburban sprawl, right, that we have going west. So yeah, so I think the reality is the line of credit is very easy to go through the process. All these are regular loans that are not brand new. There's nothing that we need to learn. There's nothing that just kind of came out of nowhere. We know how to do these. We've done them over the years. I just, again, because of where we're at, as a community, in our market, these are going to become more and more necessary, period, to move forward. We also have insurance factors, right? Insurance factors, we know a property needs a new roof or new windows, impact windows, what have you. They're going to get a significant discount on their insurance. These kind of loans are necessary in today's market, not just something on the one-off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, this year the realtor is going to win as the realtor who's an educator, the one that it's going to have, the knowledge and the answers. That's that we're in a market of that, the educator realtor.
Mhm.
So, and my take is, the problem here is, go after homes that have been on the market for 30, 60, 90 days, right? Look at the homes, show those homes that have been sitting out there that need updates because I think Ruben agree with me. The ones that need updates, those are the opportunity homes, right? It's not a bad listing. What I want to show that because that's a bad listing. Those are the opportunity home.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, again, it's a matter of being creative, having these opportunities to get the home, the property, whether it's, renovating it to your liking, renovating because it needs it for insurance purposes, or adding an ADU to make it more financially feasible. These are all solutions that these types of loans bring to the market. And again, not being used enough, in my opinion. You know, we, you know, we need to start looking at those listings as potential. What's their potential? How easy can I convert this from a two-bedroom to a three-bedroom? Is a two-bedroom home even feasible anymore, right? Everybody, not everybody, a lot of people work from home, right? So they have a one bedroom and one bedroom aside as an office. So can I turn this into a three-bedroom? And it's funny because I saw a home and actually in my neighborhood that was a perfect example. They should have converted to a three-bedroom and they didn't. I don't know why, but they had plenty of square footage. All they had to do is move things around, and instead of them doing a 3-2, they ended up with a 2-2, which and the house has been sitting. They didn't do the job correctly. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of working with, again, a good contractor, a good planner, a good architect, and obviously, most importantly, a great lender like that we are to get these things, the solutions to these things.
So if I'm gonna go show homes, right, and my list of homes that I'm gonna see, I have a couple of homes that need tender loving care. I assume that once we have that buyer consultation with yourself or anybody from your team, you're gonna give them an estimate, a loan estimate on the fixed up house and then the house with the other. So so the realtor can say, hey, I know this is not what you want, but you qualify and you can renovate and turn this into what you want,
Right.
and your payment
Yeah.
is gonna be the same as the one that's already fixed up.
Right. And
That's
you're
something that
creating,
you and your team will
oh,
do, right?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get what you want. at the price that you want, um, right now, not waiting for the next renovated house to come up on the market, you know. The thing is, let's put people in the homes now. Remember that how we invest in real estate is more about time than anything else. The sooner we invest, the more that amortization game starts to play, and the more we start paying down that balance, as opposed to renting, right? So these are another tool for your toolbox to again get these people on the sidelines, and everything you read is just everybody's waiting. I don't know what they're waiting for. They're waiting. I think I read. I don't know if it's something you sent me or Ernesto, but I think people are more scared of making a mistake than anything else. That's what they're concerned about. That's why they're
Yeah.
sitting on the sideline. They're scared about making a mistake. Well, this kind of loan takes away that. You're not making a mistake. You're going to build it exactly the way you envision it. And I think that's kind of what we need to um, put in these buyers' minds.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because in South Florida, the issue is, Ruben, aging inventory, right?
Yep. Aging inventory where
Aging.
people want to be. Absolutely.
So then buy value, renovate, and create equity. That's simple. That should be your slogan. For everybody listening, that should be your tagline on social media for every single one of these homes. Buy value, renovate, and create equity.
Buenos días.
Before we go to questions, Ruben, anything you want to say
Hay
in close?
cosas ahí, vale.
Nope.
Buenos
So
días.
yeah, again, we talk about investors and the word investments, right? And although there's a lot of people on social media selling, oh, do this, do that, and invest in a bunch of property. Hey, let's just start with the first one. That is your investment and you don't live in it. And there's so many tax benefits, which are great for an investor to start with their primary residence and do a renovation or do an ADU. And that's a simple, very manageable way to become an investor right away. Let's forget about, telling them, oh, you need 5 homes in the next 10 years. How about we start with one? How about we start with one? And I think that's, my soapbox today is let's get people into the first home and let's focus on them, on getting what they want, where they want with these amazing loan products that we have.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a good one. For me, before we take questions, I said we're gonna take questions the last 5 minutes, is I'll leave you with this. And like I said, there's 1,000 of you here in Canvas, and I'm involved in a bunch of organizations. I'm talking to agents all day long, all across the state and the nation. And what I see is, most agents see problems. It's a problem, it's a problem, it's a problem. The top 20%, all they see is opportunity. That's an opportunity, that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity. When a home needs work, that's not a reason to walk away. That's not a reason to kill a showing. That's the moment to step in and lead, right? Because the market today, it's the ones that are diagnosing problems are the ones winning, right? Those are the ones delivering the prescriptions to get the deals done, right? That is the difference. That is truly the difference. That 20% agent, the top 20%, every time they go on a showing, they have a solution for whatever that buyer is going to come up as a, no, 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 no. So stop looking for deals and start fixing whatever problem those buyers may have. I have some questions that I want to go into. Ruben, question number one is there a maximum amount on the 203K?
Yeah, you can go up to the FHA limit, which on a single family home is $667,000. It's a
Okay,
lot of
so
money.
six.
It's a single family home. A duplex that goes up to, 853 and a million three, sorry, a million oh 32 on a triplex. So it's up to the FHA limit. So there's really no limit per se.
Okay. Would a DSCR loan cover a rehab? Could you use a DSCR loan to purchase a rehab property? No, right?
You could, but we're not, that's not the type of loans we're talking about today. DSCR loan, you could, but again, that's that may end up being two separate loans. These loans are more on the traditional Fannie, Freddie, FHA type loans. And VA has a program also. So
Okay, so Victoria, for that, I will have, speak to Leamsi or Ruben directly so they can guide you on that. But it's
mhm,
probably, yeah, it's probably gonna be two loans because the DSCR is gonna be tied to that rental income.
correct.
Another question, Ruben, is you have this for conventional loans also, right? There's there's
Yeah,
there's a
it's the home style. That's what it's called, home style program.
home style program. Now, last question we had, and then we will wrap it up, is are there other options as for homes that are um, true, you know, gutted and need a rehab? Are there you guys have other options for those type of loans, so homes too?
Oh yeah, we have complete construction loans, which we can do ground up construction for a person doing it for themselves, for spec, what have you. So again, we here at CMG, I think you guys saw we posted, we made number 5 in the country last year in 2025. There's not a program that we don't have. So again, the reality is talking it through and what the customer needs and what they want and where they want to be. We sell homes.
Yeah, they sell homes, and one thing I like about CMG is that you don't see their name in a stadium, you don't see their name on a football team. All the money goes right back into relationship with realtors. That's something that the leadership pushes on very hard. Their whole thing, their whole shtick is let me build a relationship with the real estate community because they are the ones that are gonna keep referring us business. There's no CMG baseball stadium, Marlin Stadium, right, Ruben? That's not in the plans.
No, I think we might be sponsoring a domino team soon, though.
Okay, we'll leave that. We'll leave it there right now. Gloria, I'll have Jader give you a call with that question. That way you guys can connect. That is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Ruben, anything you want to say in closing before we say goodbye?
No, guys, again, it's time to put people in homes. It's busy. People are out there, I think, looking at property. So let's focus on getting those people that are on the sidelines into homes.
Fantastic. As for me, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the attendance yesterday at the workshop that we did on probate and can dead people sell homes. We have one more coming up now. What happens if my sellers or buyers are getting divorced? The flyer on that was shared yesterday. So stay tuned. A lot of stuff happening. Stay productive, everybody.